Welcome to ChannelX TV. Delighted to be joined by two guests today. And we're going to be talking about the Mathis Home Marketplace, one of America's largest independent furniture retailers, who launched their marketplace about 2 years ago. And we've got Rit from Mathis here and also Alex from Mirakl. So welcome, Rit. How are you? Tell us, who are you and what do you do on a day-to-day basis?
Thank you for having me. Happy to be with you, Chris and Alex. I'm Rit Mathis. I'm the CEO of Mathis Home, a third-generation furniture retailer. So it's in my blood and the only job I've ever had. And happy to be here to talk about our partnership with Mirakl and just what incredible things it's done for our website and for our e-commerce.
And Alex, welcome, GM of the Americas at Mirakl. What do you do on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, many different things. But as the GM, I essentially oversee the entire sales organization, the marketing function, and perhaps most importantly, ensuring that all of our customers are happy and that we're delivering on the promise. So my relationship with Rit now is very focused in that area.
Well, first thing, let's find out if Rit is happy. So, Rit, you've had the marketplace on Mathis Home for 2 years now. How has it grown? What's it added to your assortment? What's having a marketplace done for the business that you couldn't have done previously?
I guess one of the things that's really important in our business is being the selection leader. And we've always thought of ourselves as the selection leader. From a brick and mortar standpoint, that can only go so far as the walls of your stores. But Marketplace has really allowed us to expand that advantage or that part of our reputation as retailers into something far, far bigger, exponentially bigger. And one of the things that we had a challenge with direct ship vendors is all of the time and effort it took to SKU and tilt up big swaths of inventory. Working with Mirakl or working with the marketplace solution made that part of it easy for us. So whereas before the idea of adding 100,000 SKUs to the website would have been a tremendous challenge for us, it's been made easy. At the present, we have 250,000 accepted SKUs from our vendors, from our 220 marketplace vendors. And, the vast majority of those are live on our site with inventory that's available for immediate fulfillment. And, our goal was to grow the marketplace assortment to 500,000 SKUs over the first 5 years as we ramped up with marketplace. And we're on track to meet that objective. That would have been next to impossible for our e-com staff, the e-com merchandising staff to be able to handle that sort of a lift. So that's what the platform's helped us with, in addition to making connections with these new vendors.
Can we put that into a little bit of perspective? How many SKUs did you typically carry as a business prior to Marketplace?
So in our first party inventory, call it 15,000 SKUs of things that we stock on the shelf. And we had another 50,000 units of inventory that were available with direct fulfillment from some of our first party vendors. So this is a massive assortment uplift. Exactly. It's a massive assortment uplift, and it's in categories where, frankly, they're adjacent to and complement our existing home furnishings assortment. But they are categories that would take a massive time commitment for me to go and shop these markets and find the partnerships. So it's been, our marketplace team is really just 3 people. So can you imagine our whole organization working on 60,000 SKUs and then just 3 folks able to add this other dimension to our assortment? It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and if I may chime in, just one of the things that is very relevant is that you're essentially servicing your consumer more effectively, right? You're giving them what they're looking for, what their need that actually complements the other purchases that they are making. And in many cases, those are own inventory. So one of the beautiful things is that you're not only, kind of expanding the potential for what you can sell, but you're actually able to deliver on that brand promise more effectively. And with that relationship, that even helps with in-store, right? So if you're delivering value through your e-com engagement with your consumers, that does drive higher loyalty and in-store activity as well.
And Alex, I wanted to ask, because I know Mathis are just rolling out retail media with Mirakl Ads. But before we actually explore what Mathis are doing, can you just explain how retail media can kind of bridge the gap between the thousands and thousands of visitors that you get to a website compared to the actual few that make a purchase? How is retail media making a difference in conversion rates?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because retail media gets a lot of publicity these days over what it can mean as far as value to the retailer. Essentially, it's an opportunity to, improve profitability. Amazon has been obviously a leader, and, the smart companies follow trends that seem to work effectively for them, retail media being a perfect example of that. And so essentially, again, I look at it through this, tri-party benefit. The brands have an opportunity to present products to consumers that they are looking for, or something of similar nature. And so it's a great investment for the brands to be able to get exposure to those eyeballs as consumers are on their path to purchase. The second is that the consumer obviously benefits from that because they're seeing things that are very relevant that they're actually interested in learning about. And that's why personalization becomes such a critical component of how you deliver ads. They have to be meaningful, not, irrelevant to their journey. And then the last is it does become, a financial opportunity for the retailer. So I think the combination of all those things is why there's been so much positive momentum built up around retail media. And essentially, to answer your question more specifically, is it improves the ability to convert, because now you are actually driving much higher relevance of products that the consumers are interested in. Therefore they find what they need and they make that purchase.
And Rit, one of the important things that Alex has just said there is the financial revenue for you as a retailer. But what are your main business goals that you want to achieve with Mirakl Ads, both in terms of revenue growth for Mathis, but also in more sales for your selling partners?
Yeah, you're right to point out that one of the most exciting things from a personal perspective is the idea that we could have another revenue channel. And so that's a real clear benefit, and something that, makes us really open to the idea. Alex also pointed out just what a dramatic benefit it's been for Amazon. And it's really the greatest example of how integrating an ad platform, into what products are presented to the customer and allowing your vendors to participate in it can really go right, and everyone can win. So, to what level this is going to be a dramatic shift for us, I really can't venture a guess as to just what its real impact is going to be. But it's really easy to see a path to it being really a win-win for our vendors to have an opportunity to get visibility for the things that drive performance, and a win for us. And hopefully Alex is right that we're delivering relevant items to the customer, and not something that is overstocked, or is out of fashion, or that's probably the pitfall of boosting particular items, is they have to be relevant. But generally with advertising, the tendency is to boost things that are performers, and that's certainly what we want to see happen. And I think our first party vendors may have just as much interest in this as our marketplace vendors, of finding ways to stand out among the bigger assortment. And the more ambitious supplier partners are the ones that are going to be really excited to hear about the unveiling of the platform.
And can I ask, how are you planning to implement them? I mean, the obvious place that everyone almost thinks of, and looking to Amazon, as we've mentioned them, is the top search result is always a sponsored product on Amazon. But there are so many other pages, from sort of product pages to basket pages, checkout pages. Where are you particularly excited about for positioning retail media? And what can Mirakl Ads do for you, other than just almost a pay-to-play to get to the top of search?
Alex would have a better answer for what all of the best practices are there. And generally, our playbook so far has been to take Mirakl's recommendations and to give them a shot to work. And they've been right, even though they've made some ambitious promises about a number of things. I'll give you a great example of that. At the beginning, they said, this is a scale game. Say yes to as many things as you can, and build with scale. And that's the way to get big results. And that proved to be correct. And so from that point on, we've given Mirakl the benefit of the doubt and said, let's just take their advice and start there. If it proves to be wrong, then that's okay. But that's how we plan to roll out Mirakl Ads as well, taking advantage of the good advice we've got from our account reps, and trying to put it, leverage it to its full opportunity.
Yeah, and if I may, yeah. So Chris, I was just going to weigh in there that, the reality of it is, while there are playbooks that have general themes, there's a lot of learning that goes on based on the consumers within, respective segments as it relates to retail media, frankly, even marketplace strategies as well. But the cool thing about it is you have the opportunity to test and learn and experiment and see what's actually driving the most impact and the best results. And so very similarly, it's early days with Rit and his team on retail media, but essentially that's going to be the evolution of the coming year or 2 years, is going to be continuing to, pull levers and turn knobs and see what actually drives the best results.
And I also wanted to ask, what are the real benefits for the consumer of retail media? Because we know what the benefit is for you, Rit. It's firstly revenue, and secondly driving sales for your retail partners. But as a consumer, what do I get out of seeing retail media on not just on Mathis, but on anyone's website?
Alex, I better let you try to answer that first.
Yeah, I actually feel quite passionate about it. And again, even if you think about your own consumer experiences, when you go to, buy something that you're interested in, usually sometimes you have a specific product and brand associated with it, but usually it's a general theme, and you actually don't even know what all of the options are that are available to you. And, the beautiful thing both of marketplace and retail media is they work hand in hand. You're expanding the assortment and you're exposing those different options to the consumer. And so for me, you end up with a much, much better result of, what the consumer ends up finding and buying. And again, one of the other interesting things that most people don't understand is they think about marketplace as just this endless aisle, and it's so expansive, and maybe it even takes away from selling those products that I have in inventory. It's actually the opposite, that there's all the data show that when third-party products are bought via the marketplace model, that the 1P products or the own inventory products actually go hand in glove. And so you end up, again, delivering more value. Yes, you're expanding your basket size, but I still believe as a consumer, at the end of the day, I want to find what I want. And if I can find what I want, I will come back for more later. And that for me, fulfills the promise.
So I think one thing I'm really interested in is how you can add in personalization with retail media. And in particular, how can you use sort of AI insights and analytics to drive personalization and actually show me products I'm interested in, which might be totally different to what you're wanting, Alex, or what you're wanting, Rit. But how can AI help? And how can you actually personalize the experience? It's just got to be on the fly, because I'm a very different customer to everyone else that visits Mathis.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly right. And again, one of the things that we feel differentiates Mirakl from other platforms that are available as well to deliver on the retail media promise is personalization. In conjunction with that, and worth mentioning, we've actually been leveraging AI for many years now. So it's become in vogue recently because of the advent of Chat GPT and otherwise. But there's been other mechanisms and ways to use that in the background. So there's a combination of an investment that we made in a personalization engine in conjunction with AI, and it essentially will just look at all the things related to what your behavior is, historical buying patterns, et cetera, and again, can be much more relevant with the types of products that get presented to you. And I think Rit mentioned this earlier, but historically, a lot of ads have been, what do I have overstock of, or what's actually not selling? And the reality of it is the shift towards, personalization and retail media is about, that notion of relevance to what the consumer is looking for, not trying to, shove things in their faces that they frankly might not even care about. So AI is just a great tool to make sure that you're, very precise with the type of ads that you can deliver.
Now, I want to finish by getting some real advice for marketplace sellers. And Rit, I love your advice for the marketplaces themselves from your own personal experience, which is just accept all of the recommendations from Mirakl Ads or your retail media supplier. But when a marketplace seller is selling on Mathis, or maybe it's a different Mirakl marketplace, what are the first things they should be thinking about when they want to start engaging with retail media? And what strategies do they use when selling on Mathis or similar marketplaces?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's been so meaningful for us to generate another, 160,000 plus side doors to our website that can be promoted via Google Shopping and that support the overall search engine optimization relevancy of our domain. And, when we talk about scale, one of the things that comes out of saying yes to a lot of things is you get really surprised by what sells. There's a lot of things that we never expected to be important on our site that have become steady contributors, and that has really surprised us. I'll tell you, more advice for people thinking about marketplace. Things that surprised me, I never expected. Our time to ship right now from our marketplace vendors is 23 hours on average. So goods are going out really faster than we can get our first party inventory out on the road to the customer. And I was also really surprised. We expected, with being a little disconnected, that our refund and return rates would be higher than what we experience with our first party inventory. They're not. Our refund rate right now is running at about 3%. So the smoothness of the transactions in terms of, do they go out fast? Do they stick in the home? Is the customer happy with it? It's been amazing. So all of those things, it really exceeded my expectations. And I think it would surprise other retailers too, that were considering a marketplace. For us, we went through, and I should have maybe mentioned this part of the story earlier. We had changed the name of our company from Mathis Brothers Furniture to Mathis Home about the same time that we launched the marketplace. And shifting from furniture to home, we had an opportunity to really redefine our business into being more than furniture. And so all of these adjacent categories, like the kitchen, or like organization, or like seasonal decorations, all of a sudden became open to us. And so how do you jump into those categories quickly? Marketplace allows you to pivot into brand new categories hyper fast in a way that allows you to test into things, to see where there's a possibility for a new category of growth for your company. So that part of it has been one of the more exciting and unique things about being a marketplace customer. And so I just I think you've got the gist of this, but we're really happy customers, and continue to be excited about, hey, there's another opportunity to make it even better through the Mirakl Ads platform. So onwards and upwards.
Yeah, and if I can just add to Rit's comment, which is that the interesting thing is when you test and learn and you find out what's performing, that actually can drive what you decide you're going to have in stores or become part of your future 1P. And there's a funny story that we like to tell. It's not funny, it's actually a true story. A large consumer electronics business retailer started carrying baby strollers on their marketplace. And it was so off the charts that now they actually have put them in store, because you have that, you wouldn't have thought about, oh, baby products in a consumer electronics store. But when you think about a new family that's going to buy their first big screen TV and whatever else that they may need from an electronic standpoint, it actually becomes obvious in retrospect. But those are the kinds of things that start to reveal themselves, as Rit described.
And finally, Alex, from you, top tips for a seller on a marketplace for getting to grips with retail media. Where should they start?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of the things that we've spoken about. One of them is, presenting an expanded assortment, drive, test, and learn, and monitor the data. I think it's also, trying to participate in as many of those channels or marketplaces that are available to them. So as a seller, you obviously don't want to just place all your bets on, one particular retailer, but try different segments and see where you can get traction. And then the last piece is really around the data. And we've actually, built a lot of tools to make sure that the data is as enhanced and as mature and rich as it can be, so that the product pages have very thorough, detailed information, all the current, graphics representations of the products and such. And, it's one of those things that if you see something that's half-baked as a consumer, you're not going to buy it because you're going to be uncomfortable, or you might not understand enough about the product. So that product data does become critical.
Well, fascinating, Rit. Thank you so much for your time, and you, Alex. I feel we should come back in a year or maybe 2 years' time, probably a year's time, to have the same discussion about how's retail media been going. But for today, thank you so much, Rit. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thank you both. Take care.